thanks for joining us online and in person. This is our 17th meeting number 17 of the Massachusetts Environmental Justice Council. But before I get started, I want to turn it to ERG, our contractor, who a group of amazing people who help us run through the logistics and interpretation support for folks who need language access.
Okay, great. Hello, everyone. My name is Kessel John, and I'm with ERG, a contractor supporting this effort. First, I'm going to provide meeting logistics for our Zoom attendees. So this presentation is available with virtual interpreters in Spanish, Portuguese, Vietnamese, Haitian Creole, Cape Verdean Creole, Mandarin, and American Sign Language, or ASL. In-person interpretation is available in Portuguese, Spanish, Haitian Creole, Chinese, and Vietnamese, although our Vietnamese interpreter is running a little late. They're stuck in traffic, but they will be here shortly. To access the interpretation of your desired interpretation language, please click on the globe icon at the bottom of your Zoom control panel. It is a circle with a grid on it, and select your desired language. Interpreters, if you could one by one come into the English room as I say your language and say to participate in your language, click the interpretation icon and select your language. So Martha, our Spanish interpreter, could you please come into the English room and say that? Martha, let's see, are you still here? Oh. There we go.
Oh, ahí está.
Now we can hear you, sorry.
Si alguien quiere utilizar los servicios de interpretación al español, puede hacer clic en el icono del globo que se encuentra en la parte inferior de la pantalla y elegir español. Gracias.
Thank you. Portuguese with Paul.
Olá a todos. Para entrar no canal em português, clique no ícone Interpretação e selecione português.
Thank you. V with Vietnamese.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người. Để nghe ngôn ngữ bằng tiếng Việt, vui lòng chọn biểu tượng quả địa cầu ở góc phải phía dưới và chọn tiếng Việt. Xin cảm ơn.
Thank you. Junling with Mandarin.
如果要以普通话参加会议，请单击口语图标并选择中文服务。
Kelly with Haitian Creole.
Alors, bonsoir tout le monde. Si toutefois vous avez établi une réunion ça dans la langue haïtienne, ça peut cliquer sur l'icône en bas et puis vous tapez interprétation et puis choisir langue préférée là qui c'est créole haïtien pour capable de faire réunion dans la langue créole haïtien. Merci un peu.
Thank you. And then Zanelda, I'm so sorry. Could you please say that for Cape Verdean Creole?
Sure. Assim, boa noite, Verônica Salino, do Gustavo e Elisa, para nós poderem participar na reunião, escutar na crioulo, nós podemos clicar naquele ícone que está no fundo de tela, de interpretação, e selecione crioulo de Cabo Verde, para nós podermos escutar a reunião em nossa língua de preferência. Obrigada.
Thank you very much. And those are our verbal.
Estos son los idiomas.
Hello, somebody.
Sorry.
No problem. Thank you for being here. English speakers should also select English, the English interpretation room, so that they can hear any translated comments. Closed captions are available for this meeting, and they will be auto-generated. You can select them by clicking the CC icon at the bottom of your Zoom control panel. If you are a virtual attendee and would like to use telephone audio for this meeting, please click on the small arrow next to the audio settings icon, select Switch to Phone Audio, and follow the directions provided. Virtual attendees can send an email to meetings@erg.com with any technical questions related to meeting Zoom logistics. If you would like a translated version of the presentation slides, you can go to the Environmental Justice Council website, which will be linked in the chat shortly. You should be able to find a translated set of slides there. Just so everyone knows, this meeting is being recorded and will later be available for viewing through a link, the same Environmental Justice website. Virtual attendees can submit questions in the Q&A box. If you would like to make a comment during the time for public comments, please raise your hand virtually by clicking the raise hand icon on your Zoom control panel, and I will be able to unmute you. If you are commenting in another language, please speak into your language channel and your interpreter will translate the comment into English. Or, once again, you may type a comment into the Q&A box and I will read it aloud. To all our in-person attendees who are asking questions and our council members, please make sure you speak into the microphone so virtual attendees can hear you. And for all speakers, please speak slowly to accommodate the interpreters. Please use simple language and minimize the use of acronyms. Finally, I would like to remind council members to only use the chat function for meeting logistics and for no other communication in accordance with open meeting law. We are also asking all council members to leave their cameras on for the whole meeting. That is it for Zoom. Back over to you, Marie Belen.
Thank you, Kessel. And I would like to thank the Taunton Public Library for hosting us. We are working hard to go to different corners of the state and to have these meetings both in person with the ability for folks to join virtually from their communities. So it's a skill that we're perfecting. Every meeting, I think, becomes smoother. So thank you to ERG for supporting us and to the Taunton Public Library for hosting us, and also to all the interpreters for helping us make this meeting more accessible. And I'm not sure if we have any elected officials here, but would like to recognize them if there are any. Well, in that case, I will move to a roll call to begin the meeting. You know, actually, I think I'm going to review the agenda before the roll call. So if you could move to the agenda slide, which I can't see because my glasses are not. Do you have it on?
Yeah.
Great, thank you, Marcos. So we did the review, we're doing the review of the logistics and agenda. We'll do the roll call to make sure we have quorum. We'll take question and comments from the public. So this is a new thing that we started several months ago of doing question and comments at the beginning of the meeting and then at the end of the meeting as well. So folks don't have to wait an hour and a half or 2 hours to speak. And then if there's time or answers that the council members would like to provide, depending on time availability, then we'll hear about the clearinghouse project from our colleagues at EEA, at the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs. And then we'll have a discussion on tribal EJ strategy from one of our council members. It'll be a conversation that we wanted to have. Then we'll take question and comments again, and if there's time for responses, and then we will adjourn with next steps on our next meeting. So with that, I will do roll call. And Kessel, I'm doing, yep, great. So if folks who are present could say aye or raise their hand. Kalila Barnett. Madeline Fraser Cook. Melissa Ferretti.
Aye.
Cheryl Hawley,
I'm here.
Caroline Hahn,
I'm here.
Namrita Kapoor, Lydia Lowe,
Here.
Marcos Luna,
Here.
Peter Matthey,
Here.
Sophia Owen,
Here.
Jen Salinetti,
Here.
Patricia Spence. I think she put her hand up. Great. Ari Zorn and Miles Gresham. So just confirming that we have quorum. Kessel, we do. Great. So now we are moving to the public comment or question. And I believe Kessel is going to help. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Approve the minutes.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
So we'll run through the approval of the minutes from the last meeting that we had in September. And so I call for a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved. Second.
So Melissa moved
Melissa Ferretti.
and Jen second. So is there any discussion of the minutes? If not, we'll do a roll call to vote either in favor, oppose, or abstain from the minutes.
All right, I'm going to call people's names. Please, as Mary Belen said, do in favor, oppose, or abstain for the approval of the minutes. So Kalila Barnett, I believe is not here. Madeline Fraser Cook is also not here. Melissa Harding Ferretti,
Yes, approved.
Cheryl Hawley,
Abstain, I was not present.
Caroline Hahn,
Abstain.
Namrita Kapoor, I don't think is here. Lydia Lowe,
Approved.
Marcos Luna,
Approve.
Peter Matthey,
Approve.
Sophia Owen,
Approved.
Jen Salinetti,
Approved.
Patricia Spence,
Approved.
Ari Zorn is not here, and Miles Gresham is also not here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you are 8, so we're good.
Great. So the minutes were approved. And now we will welcome question and comments from the public by either raising your hand or using the Q&A feature. And I believe Kessel will help with the instructions on Q&A process, just for folks to know both in person and virtual.
Okay, Maria Belen, would you, sorry, backing up slightly, what would you like to approve or not approve the minutes?
I approve.
Okay, great, thank you. Apologies for the confusion on my part. All
So,
right.
so now to you, Kessel, to help just give a quick instruction process on
Yes.
public comment.
All right, so, oh, great, you shared this slide, good. So at this point, people can come up and make comments. If you are a virtual attendee, you can either raise your hand and we will unmute you, or sorry, we will allow you to unmute yourself and then you can speak. If you have written comments, you can put them in the Q&A box and they will be read aloud. If you are in person, please proceed to the podium at the front left of the room, and you can make comments. Please limit your comments to 2 minutes so that we have time for others to speak. And yes, we have somebody in person.
Well, I'm in trouble because I planned on 3 minutes like the State House, so I'll try to make it briefer. My name is Sabrina Davis. I am the Environmental Justice Director at the Coalition for Social Justice. Today, I would like to bring to the EJ Council issues that Taunton is facing right now. It's the Delphinius concrete aggregate plant located on Berkeley. For those who don't know what a concrete aggregate plant is where various materials are mixed together to make concrete. This process comes at a cost. Delphinius and its many other owners have been an issue since 1919. The community, with each leadership change, has hoped for improvement, but that has not happened. The noise, the dust, and heavy traffic has only intensified over the years. There are many health risks that are involved with the operation of this, especially when they don't follow industry standards. Dust from the operations contain dangerous silica particles that, if inhaled, can lead to serious respiratory issues. I'm not going to name them right now, but I will submit my comments for record. There's a lot at stake, mainly the lives of families and future of the community itself. This plant is very noisy on a nuisance level. They don't have regular working hours, so the residents have to tolerate this at all hours of the morning and night. Then there are the issues with the truck traffic and the idling that goes on. They were told that they're not supposed to idle, they do it anyways. And with all the trucks in and out, that produces a lot of emissions. Despite the numerous complaints and evidence of environmental noncompliance, we have seen inadequate responses from our city officials and regulators. This has led us to a critical juncture where we can no longer remain passive observers to the ongoing situation. But let me convey to you the empowering spirit of our community. In 2020, we came together as Clean Air Taunton to successfully oppose the Aries gasification plant. This coalition united individuals and organizations who believed in our right to clean air. It demonstrated that when we work together, we can affect real change. Now, as we face the Delphinius concrete plant, Clean Air Taunton has joined with the Weir community members, some of which you will hear tonight, to form the Weir Dustbusters. We are determined to address the significant health and environmental impacts caused by this facility. There are many solutions to help alleviate the symptoms and the nuisances that the community members face. They're very simple, like normal working hours, dust control measures. This is not beyond the company's grasp. They just choose actively to not do it. So we implore you, the council, for your support. We need your help to amplify our voices and advocate for the rights to a safe, healthy environment. And we hope that you will stand together in this fight, and not just for Community Day, but for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Sabrina.
Thank you. We have somebody, last I saw, yes, somebody raised their hand online. Stephen? Stephen? You should be able to unmute yourself.
Yes, Stephen Buckley. I had a question about the public comment and questions policy. As a matter, in a previous life, I used to be involved in public engagement for a federal agency, and so I often like to go to meetings and see how they deal with public engagement. And so it's very interesting to see that you have it at the beginning and at the end. And I hadn't attended last month's or September's meeting, so I'm wondering if I can read the discussion somewhere or the recording or something, if somebody could give me an idea of how it came to be, and perhaps if this is a practice that you've adopted from some other agency. So I don't know if I get any answer now or wait till everything's all done, but that's my question. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to just answer quickly if it's okay. We have been doing this for, I would say maybe the past year, of allowing public comment at the beginning and at the end. I'm not sure that other agencies are doing it. I used to be, and maybe still am a community organizer, so I come from having to wait hours and hours to do public comment. And so I thought it would just be a new and maybe helpful way for community members to participate at the beginning or at the end of the meeting. If you wanted to see the meetings, they are recorded and they are online. So if you go to our website, EJ Council, if you just Google EJ Council in Massachusetts, you can look at our prior meetings and the recordings as well as the minutes.
Okay. So that was discussed at a previous meeting. I went back and looked.
I would have to get back to you to see when the change was, but I'm happy to do that either over email or over a phone call.
Okay. Thank you.
If you could drop your email in the chat, that would be great.
Thank you.
If I can quickly add on to that, I don't think our last meeting has been posted yet because we had to record another language version, but it is in the process of being edited and will be posted soon. All right.
So I think we have someone in person.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yes, go for it.
My name is Kathy Rodriguez. I've been coming to your meetings for a while, virtually. I asked you to come to Taunton. Sabrina is here to help, and just two questions about, not only do we have a big polluter in our neighborhood who's affecting our health, it's public safety, it's a public health issue, but we also can't get help from our own government. As you can see, no one's here tonight from Taunton. But I can tell you we've gone to the state, we've gone to the EPA, and basically we've just gotten the runaround. Oh, well, you're coming to us, we really feel bad, but we don't take care of air quality. We go to another agency, well, we don't do noise. So we'd like to know if there's a place we can go to get some resources. And the other thing is, people don't believe us when we call. But all these people that are out here, you don't come after work because nothing's going on. You know, it's like we don't have any credibility in our own neighborhoods when we try to talk to people about these issues. But there is a real serious issue here. That silica dust is all over the neighborhood, and that's what people are breathing. And the noise, you know, they work at night. We have to get up and go to work in the morning. Our kids have to go to school, but they got to listen to this at 3 a.m. Do you know what a cement mixer sounds like at 3 a.m.? Well, you come to our neighborhood and you'll find out. And it's just ridiculous that nobody wants to look at this problem. You know, people like to look away, you know, because no agency wants to take the action. So I just thought I'd bring that to your attention, and this is all we're doing. We just need some help here to see where we can go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have one. Oh,
Do you want to lower the mic?
Okay. Claire Travis. I'm going to read this because I'm not a good speaker. Okay. My family of 10 lived in the house in front of Dorfina since 1954. At first, it was a mom-and-pop operation that was neighborhood-oriented. It remained that way until it was transferred to the nephew, Bob Murphy. He then began to excavate at a very fast pace. He also expanded the operation over the years to include importing sand and gravel and I can't read my own writing here. In his last years, he brought in stone crushing equipment that was not only an creator of dust, but constant noise and vibrations. In 2014, he sold it to G. Lopes, who expanded by leaps and bounds in all aspects: sand, gravel, concrete, and new construction, much of which was demolition products brought there to remain with the Dorfinas, who finally cleaned it out. There were many complaints lodged against Lopes: air quality, dust, noise, crusher, vibrations, truck traffic, and non-regulated hours. In 2022, Dorfina's purchased property. It is currently operating concrete work only. They have disbanded the crusher, and we appreciate that. They have cleaned up their property, planted grass on slopes of their creation, all on their property. They, however, have not complied with any of our requests, many to alleviate dust, noise, traffic, and hours of operation, same issues that have been plaguing the neighborhood for way too many years. We've met with the owner, Chris. He has to date given no alleviations, no solutions. We need support.
Thank you.
Lisa De Silva, I live on Berkeley Street, also part of Ware Dustbusters. We need help. We have a very high senior citizen population in our neighborhood. Directly across the street from the concrete plant is senior housing, disabled, low income. There's 41 units. These poor people cannot open their windows during the summer because of the amount of silt that comes our way. I live 4 houses over from the concrete plant. My car is constantly covered with silt. My mom just turned 99 on Sunday. She's, up until this past year, been very active, moving around on her own. Now she's on oxygen 24/7. And a lot of our neighborhood is 65 and over. I myself, I'm 58, and I have a constant, cough. I last year tried to run my air conditioner. I burnt out 4 units with the amount of silt that was embedded into my filter. And again, I'm 4 houses over. We have gone to them twice and had face-to-face meetings with these people. We've given them 4 reasonable requests. Hours of operations. Do not, start before 6 o'clock. They've told us time and time again, oh, no, the gates don't open until 6 o'clock. I've recorded them twice being at 4 a.m., banging machines. We've sent emails to them. They investigate, and it's always some maintenance person or some random. We put a stop to it. A couple of weeks later, 4 a.m., hearing the banging. There'll also be 11, 12 o'clock at night. They'll send us an email saying they are going to do, late truck deliveries. And we're not accepting it. He's thinking he's complying with us by sending us a heads up, but we're not accepting it. We're aware of it, that our sleep is going to be disturbed, but he's still doing it. The dust in the street, he's putting in a wash station, but this has taken him months, and we still haven't seen it fully erected and in use. Meanwhile, our streets, our yards are covered with silt. I had a neighbor that told me a couple of months ago, his children go to play out in the yard. He has to hose down all their toys in the yard before they even touch it. Otherwise, they're just covered. And his 4-year-old child, has asthma now from playing in the yard. It's time that they stop and adjust and accept a reasonable request. We can't make them go away. We just want them to play nice in the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Kessel, do we have folks online?
Yes, there is. Let me double. There's nobody raising their hand, but we do have one written comment. David Dow asks, how are the Mass EOEEA/EJC adjust its federal grant process when the Trump administration takes office on January 20th, 2025? You're good. But that is the last open question we have, I think. So we can move to the next part of the agenda, I believe.
Thank you, and thanks to folks who came and I mean, I'm just thinking this out loud, but one way of following up might be for our office to meet with you, you know, and I mean, we all took notes, you know, there's minutes being taken, but just to really understand deeper what the situation is and if there's anything that we can do about it, either at the executive office or with our agencies. I think that's what, just thinking out loud right now, what would be a possible next step for us. But really grateful that you all came.
Well, you have my email information. Make things happen.
Great, thank you, Sabrina.
Sophia Owen has her hand up if you want to talk.
Go ahead, Sophia.
Thanks, everyone. And thank you to the folks from Wear Dustbusters and to Sabrina, Kathy, Claire, Lisa. I hear you. And in addition to meeting with Maria Belen's team, I think, as y'all know, I work at ACE, and we provide support to folks around the very issues that you're facing, and we'll continue to be in touch with all of you. So I just wanted to say thank you for showing up and sharing with us, and we'll commit to ensuring that follow-up happens. So appreciate you all being here.
And now I'd like to introduce one of our colleagues from EEA, Martha Grover, who will be introducing the topic of the clearinghouse, what it is, and the process that's going on right now, and sort of the intention or the idea of this clearinghouse as a resource. So I'll pass it to you, Martha.
Thank you very much, Undersecretary Power. I appreciate it, and thank you for having us here tonight at your council meeting. I'm Martha Grover, Policy Advisor for Building Decarbonization at the Mass Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs, and want to just say that we value you as partners in this work to engage communities and residents in building decarbonization, and value your input on this project that Dylan, my colleague, is going to describe soon. But I just wanted to introduce it and explain a little bit about what we're talking about when we say a building decarbonization clearinghouse. Dylan will explain further, but in a nutshell, it's creating a one-stop shop for building electrification, energy efficiency, and other information and resources that is understandable and accessible to consumers and advances equitable energy upgrades to reach our climate goals. The time is short, so I'll just let Dylan take it from here. And thank you again for input on this project. And you can submit it in writing after today. There's information on the council website and through public comment. We'll be having 2 public listening sessions in December, which we'll be announcing soon. And we appreciate your time and engagement in this initiative. So Dylan, if you want to
Thank you, Martha.
continue from here. Great, thanks.
Okay, and I think I have control of the slides, so let's check that out. Yes, I do. Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Dylan Voorhees. I'm a senior consultant with the EIC and the project lead working with Martha and the Executive Office of Environmental and Energy and Environmental Affairs on the Building Decarbonization Clearinghouse project. The EIC is a nonprofit energy services firm working nationally, but with origins in New England, where I'm located. You'll all have access to the slides tonight from the EJ Council website, and I won't be able to cover all 25 or so of the slides. I want to provide the context, the overview of the straw proposal and some options, but I recognize that I'll need to go through the material a little bit quickly and skip over some slides that I hope you'll return to at your leisure. We know this is a lot to digest, and as Martha said, we invite you to follow up with feedback and comments through the EA. And we will have additional public listening sessions that are being scheduled, should be noticed any day now for early December. So a little bit of background, very briefly. In late 2022, the Massachusetts Commission on Clean Heat issued a final report with recommendations, one of which was to develop a building decarbonization clearinghouse. EEA hired a consulting team led by the EIC and supported by the Solomon Group to conduct research and develop options for a possible clearinghouse. The commission didn't specifically define what a clearinghouse is, and that's something we've been developing further in this project with multiple options. Here's a basic definition on this slide, similar to what Martha said: a centralized resource to help individuals, businesses, and organizations navigate the various programs and incentives and technologies available for reducing greenhouse gas emissions. I'll say a little bit more about what that could look like as we go along. Many of you will be familiar with the fact that with a Mass Save is the name of the energy efficiency program that's run by investor-owned electric and gas utilities, plus the Cape Light Compact. We call those entities the program administrators of Mass Save. And every 3 years, those program administrators and stakeholders develop a new program plan that lays out the strategies, the budgets, the metrics that would govern Mass Save. The 2025 to 2027 plan was recently filed for review at the Department of Public Utilities. That's a process that includes public input as well. And that new plan includes many features that also aim at providing greater customer support for equitable decarbonization. That plan needs to comply with all of the existing laws and regulations, the objectives, the limits on funding. The clearinghouse options in these slides would potentially change the laws or regulations, requirements, or other structural constraints that currently apply to Mass Save. In this project, with the advice and direction from EEA, we formed a temporary equity advisory committee of 9 people to support the consideration of equity perspectives during this project. That committee was comprised from stakeholders across the state to advise us on topics related to environmental justice, equitable procedures, and to support us in better understanding the customer's lived experiences. And we greatly appreciate the insights and feedback provided by the Equity Advisory Committee. I want to be clear that the options presented in these slides are those of the EEA and may not reflect the views of specific members of our Equity Advisory Committee. The last piece of background information, throughout this project, we drew on multiple sources of input and information. This is just a very high-level summary of research and analysis conducted over a 9-month period. But what I really want to do is talk about the clearinghouse options. And so in the following slides, there are 2 options for how the clearinghouse would be administered. Option A would be an authority established in law to serve all customers statewide, governed by an independent board of directors. And option B would be to have the clearinghouse programs and services administered by a modified set of the current Mass Save program administrators. But the programs and services would be the same under either administrative structure. Each element of the clearinghouse options was selected to respond to a need or challenge that we identified during the project. And most of the rest of the slides describe a key need or challenge and the possible changes or response to that. Keep in mind that in general, each change or element here would enable or require the clearinghouse administrator, whether it was a new statewide authority or the existing program administrators, to go beyond or do things differently than required or allowed under Mass Save currently. They're directionally, Mass Save is moving in directionally a similar way, it's similar direction to what is proposed here, but this is a larger framework. So these on my screen are very small, but this is a list of 10 key needs and challenges that we heard or uncovered in our research and analysis and consultation. And most of the rest of the slides, the next 10 slides specifically, outline options and ideas to respond to these challenges. Some of the responses to these challenges would be the same regardless of the administrative model. Those are the first 5. And others, the second 5, would vary at least somewhat based on which administrative model was adopted. Tonight, I'm going to focus on 7 of these 10 that may be of particular interest to the council, but I encourage you to review all the material so you can provide feedback if you wish over the coming weeks. So the first thing we found is that customers can both or either lack trustworthy information about decarbonization or, in fact, be overwhelmed by information and messages coming at them about building decarbonization and energy efficiency. And so the proposed response is to consolidate and coordinate on a statewide basis marketing, education, and outreach. And so the clearinghouse would be responsible for the execution of a statewide customer marketing, education, and outreach plan for all aspects of energy efficiency and decarbonization in the Commonwealth. And that marketing, education, and outreach could support multiple programs and initiatives, but be streamlined across multiple activities. That doesn't mean that there isn't a need for many different kinds of marketing and education. There are many types of customers, and there are many important forms of communication. But it would mean that those efforts would be coordinated and consistent, which could benefit customers and also improve efficiency. Second, we found that customers can get lost navigating between different programs. And this includes state and federal programs, which are currently, and have been increasing in numbers. And the multitude of state and federally funded programs and initiatives has many positive benefits, and many were developed to meet specific needs. But the response to this challenge is really one of the core elements of the straw proposal. The clearinghouse would be responsible for a one-stop shopping customer experience that consolidates the customer-facing aspects of most of the building decarbonization-related offerings in the Commonwealth. For example, unified building assessments, consolidated technical assistance, support with eligibility and enrollment for different offerings. It doesn't mean that the clearinghouse would necessarily have to administer all decarbonization programs in the state. Agencies like the Department of Energy Resources would still likely be responsible for administering things like the smart solar incentives, but the clearinghouse could handle the customer-facing aspects, such as providing information, incorporating solar options into the technical support given to customers, or helping the customers determine what they're eligible for and helping them get enrolled. One-stop shopping also doesn't mean providing the same services and tools to all customers. Not all customers have the same needs. Not only do, of course, residential customers need different things from large commercial building owners, but many customers have different types of needs or want a different level of support. But it does mean that customers would get what they need without having to navigate on their own between different services and programs, or be subject to multiple potentially conflicting pathways, or even to know what rebates or services they're eligible to receive. Third, we found that many customers, of course not all of them, need deeper support and hand-holding to understand the options and gather resources to complete building improvement projects. In many ways, this is a program design challenge, and we weren't really focused at the program design level. We're focused on the sort of policy and structural level, but a couple of things that are options would help address this. One of them is to consolidate customer assistance and support, as I just described. Another response to that would be to establish a statewide data platform that has information about customer participation in different programs, not only Mass Save, information about their buildings that would help the clearinghouse support customers' whole building needs. And a comprehensive database could help ensure that customer eligibility for all building and decarbonization offerings. I'm going to skip to just two more elements here. If we can get to the right slides. Okay. So excuse me. Today, customers have varying access to programs depending on which utility territory they live in. Specifically, customers in municipal light and power territories do not have universally access to the same program services offered to the utility customers through Mass Save. And so depending on the option, this would be addressed either by a statewide, single statewide administrator that would, by matter of kind of definition, serve all customers, or having those MLP customers served through a new or existing program administrator. Last thing I think I will focus on, and given our time, is this finding, which is that environmental justice households need greater outreach and engagement to ensure that they can benefit from the programs more than they have in the past. And there are two options included in this proposal. One would be to, option B, is to increase a program some folks may be familiar with called the Community First Partnerships. These are currently offered through Mass Save. They provide funding to entities in several dozen communities to provide outreach and customer engagement. So one option is to significantly expand the number of those community first partnerships. An alternative approach would be to establish perhaps around 6 regional equity hubs that would provide customer engagement and support that would be less local than the community first partnerships. They'd be more regional, but they could provide additional capacity or services that are difficult to fund in every single community. For example, they could have field staff that speak all of the languages that are needed in the region, or have staff that specialize, for example, in outreach to landlords of small multifamily buildings. And those regional hubs could provide direct funding to community-based organizations that deliver outreach and engagement services. So I'll wrap up by noting that a core objective is to really enhance the customer journey. There's a slide here that gives an example, just one example of a customer who might have an aging water heater and calls a program for help. And this is a description of what that could look like under the clearinghouse. So there's ongoing customer engagement. We're having meetings and focus groups with many organizations across the state. As was mentioned, there are 2 public listening sessions in early December, and welcome feedback through those public listening sessions, and also through through EEA. We're very interested in feedback about the proposal. And with that, I will turn the control and microphone back over to you. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much. Do council members have any questions or comments? Yeah, Caroline.
I have a question. Thank you for the presentation. Sorry, I'm gonna move closer. I think this was really, really helpful, and look forward to reading the slides in more detail. I'm interested, and maybe this is in the slides, as to whether if the program design is, or as you're thinking about it, does it address anything around landlord and tenant dynamics and make that potentially easier?
Yeah, absolutely. That's critical. Really, that is a little bit more at the level of sort of program design, which we haven't really addressed. We're thinking a little bit more about structure and policy. But that's absolutely a critical need that an underserved segment that deserves additional resources as well as additional outreach strategies. So those are part of the proposal, again, at a little bit higher level.
Thank you. I have one more in person, and then I see a hand, 2 hands online.
Dylan, thank you for that presentation. My name is Marcos Luna. I'm the council here. I'm curious about, you said, if I heard you correctly, that the clearinghouse would have the ability to do things differently than, let's say, Mass Save can do, is my understanding, on a policy level. And I'm not understanding how that would, or what that means. Like, because, for example, to Caroline's question about the renter and property owner dynamics. So we know from other studies that that's a real crucial issue for renters to take advantage of a lot of these programs if they don't own the property. So that's definitely a policy, structural, economic issue. So is that the level that you're talking about, that you can change how that works? Or I guess I just want clarification about what you're imagining this clearinghouse could do that's different from what's currently happening through Mass Save.
Thank you for that excellent question, and sort of following on the previous question. So 2 things. One is that this, if the state moves forward with these ideas and no decisions have been made about any of these, that's the purpose of collecting feedback, the first step would be to enact legislative changes that would potentially redefine the objectives that are currently assigned to Mass Save. So Mass Save's kind of core objective is to acquire or achieve all cost-effective energy efficiency. You'll see in a slide I didn't get to go through here that the proposal would be to change those objectives, at least incrementally, and to change how resources can be used to target those objectives, one of which would be to reduce energy burden for environmental justice households, for example. But there are many other policy changes that are needed to support decarbonization. Building codes and standards and electric and gas rate reform and all of those things are outside the scope of this project, but are also really important tools in the toolbox.
Thank you. I think we have Sophia, and I can't tell who the other hand is.
There's Madeline Fraser-Cook and Lydia. Little.
Thanks. I appreciate this information, and can you share a little bit more about who the stakeholders were that engaged thus far? And was the advisory council the EEAC, the Energy Efficiency Advisory Council, or was that a separate body? Because I'll just say, I'm a little bit concerned that this is the first that I'm hearing about this, given the work organizationally that ACE does. And so would appreciate more information on how engagement has been done thus far, and if there will be additional opportunities to get feedback if there are key folks who have been unable to provide feedback thus far outside of the listening sessions that have been planned. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. I can give a quick answer to that, and then possibly Martha can add to that. But really, this is the we're just starting with the sort of feedback portion of this task, and so we have meetings scheduled with or we're in the process of trying to schedule focus groups and stakeholder meetings with largely equity-related stakeholders, so CAP agencies and community-based organizations across the state. That's a process that's happening now. Early in the project, we had a relatively narrow set of stakeholder interviews that helped us sort of establish the landscape. The Equity Advisory Council that I referred to was not the same as the Energy Efficiency Advisory Council for Mass Save. It was a group that we put together with support from Undersecretary Power and others to have a small group. There were 9 individuals, but a lot of diversity of perspectives from across the state. And we met with them throughout the project as we were thinking about the options. And they gave us a lot of valuable insight. But really now we're just getting started with meetings like this to present the ideas that came out of that process and start to solicit feedback. There will be the slides, I think probably pretty much the same slides that are in front of you tonight, will go on to the EEA website. And in addition to the public listening sessions, there will be questions and sort of feedback form and a mechanism for members of the public or interested stakeholders to provide feedback. And so I think that's coming online, as I said, sort of any day now, but we really will invite people to provide feedback in those forums as well.
Thank you. I think we had 2 more questions, and we'll try to move after that to the tribal environmental justice strategy conversation.
Madeline, I think you are next.
Okay, great. Thank you. Sorry, I'm not on video. I'm calling in from overseas and it will stress the bandwidth. One of the things that I kind of, in listening to your presentation, I was wondering is, one, in the Clean Heat Commission, there was a recommendation for a clearinghouse of this type, one-stop shop to really do meaningful outreach and help folks really understand the range of incentives they might have and what it practically means to actually do this work. the decarbonization work. And so I was just wondering, just making sure that there's, you know, a closed loop there, or a connection at least, in terms of state level recommendations around this kind of thing. So just calling that out, just to ensure that there is kind of coordination around these ideas. And so that's one. And then the second piece of it is, I'm just curious about, from the policy perspective, kind of how you're addressing the issue of EJ communities maybe not moving quick enough in the transition, and then getting stuck with the stranded assets that would be natural gas heating, and, you know, having the burden of carrying that infrastructure costs, if other more, you know, affluent communities are getting off of natural gas. If you're addressing that, and in the case of electric bills rising, there's a lot of concern around electrification in particular, and what that means on a monthly basis for utility costs for folks that are already stretched thin on budgets. And so just making sure that those considerations are somehow baked in, and there's some thinking around what the solutions sets are, including what kind of maybe incentives address that particular need. Folks that are willing to transition do transition, and then find that their utility bills are going up in that transition. So those are the two items I wanted to raise.
I can respond very quickly. Those are excellent and complex issues. Just on the coordination, so we're working, this is a project of EEA, so the Commission on Clean Heat, as far as I know, doesn't currently exist. It wrapped up, but this is very much a continuation of that process, I would say. So I think that's happening. Maybe we might want to look at the Commission membership and think about going back to talk with some of the Commission members. That could be something we can consider. But I think the same folks that have been sort of part of that are part of this project and working with us and ready to take the next steps. There's a lot of important pieces of your question about customers being sort of stranded on the gas system or facing higher energy bills. There's a number of, and this project can't solve all of those itself. There needs to be attention at the sort of rate reform and rate setting process at the Department of Public Utilities, for example. But this clearinghouse proposal could help with that in a number of ways. First of all, by assigning, it's currently on the screen, you probably can't see it, but the objectives of the clearinghouse would include reducing the literal objective of reducing energy burden in household, this typo there, in environmental justice households. It also would be, and there's not a lot of detail about this, but an acknowledgement that there needs to be additional resources to support equitable decarbonization. And this would be an entity that would have a sort of enhanced capacity for outreach and engagement to those households, and flexibility to use incentive dollars to meet these objectives. So I do think that this clearinghouse would be a partner with the utilities and the Department of Public Utilities to address that very complex challenge. And it could do a lot in that toward meeting that need, but also there needs to be complementary policies to go along with it. So hopefully that's a helpful, quick answer. There's much more we could talk about and get feedback about.
Thank you. So I know we have one more question. We have one more hand. We are also 5 minutes away from our official ending time. I'm wondering.
Maria, if I could interrupt, I wouldn't mind if we divert our tribal EJ conversation to the next meeting, because I feel like the clearinghouse is a really important conversation as well. So
Great.
I won't be offended if you want to choose it next meeting.
Okay, I mean, that sounds like a great solution. Is it possible, checking in with ERG, to go to 7:45?
Maybe 7:40.
7:40?
Library closes at 8.
Okay, yep, all right, so we have to get out of here. So why don't we can extend it 10 minutes. And so we'll take, I guess, Martha, did you want to add anything to those, to the answer?
No, I think Dylan covered it. And I'm having trouble hearing some of the questions anyway, but I think Dylan answered the questions, unless there's more that we could provide follow-up questions.
Great, thank you. So we'll take the next question, which I think was Lydia.
Yeah, I think it's more of a comment. I'm just really glad because actually in the round of outreach, our organization in Chinatown, in Boston, Chinatown, we were one of the ones we organized a number of focus groups for the Solomon Group. And at the time I was kind of like, we were being asked to organize all these focus groups in Chinese by actually different parties on different kinds of EJ topics. And I was just feeling like, is this really going to go anywhere? Are we just having these stupid focus groups to say that there's no Chinese language outreach, our community's not being served? And, we're like organizing all these focus groups, but I could just tell you without organizing the focus groups, like what's going on. But I'm just so glad to see that they actually contributed to some proposals for actual change. And I think that, I love the idea of having a clearinghouse because it's just totally confusing the way things are organized now. And you really can get, lost in between the silos. And I think that, what's important is to both figure out how to centralize so that we avoid all of the duplication that's happening, but also to figure out how to tap the kind of grassroots community-based knowledge, that lies in community organizations, et cetera. But, the way it's being done now is just a lot of duplication and it's not really helping. And then I think that, for example, I feel like right now a lot of money is going into community outreach, which is great, but and education. But I think actually a lot of times it's not outreach that people need; it's that we need reform of the system. And I think that some of those things you alluded to, like additional resources, in EJ communities to address older small buildings. We need like building code reform and just making clear, like, how does that building code work? And utility regulations that are actually an obstacle for tenants in multifamily, buildings to take advantage of different programs. So I'm just glad to hear that, some proposals are happening.
Thanks, Lydia. Any other questions or comments on this topic?
I have a quick comment. I just want to add on to what Lydia said, and thank you for this. I think the clearinghouse is going to be really great, and I can speak from experience. And we all want to go green, and we all have all these really. I know our tribal families, we talk about it a lot. We know that electric cars are way out of reach for our budgets, and that we can't afford those things, but. For instance, we're thinking on building an addition so that we can go be with my mother-in-law who's, aging in her golden years. So, it's really hard to find the resources and find out where you need to go. And having a clearinghouse is going to be a really awesome for us to send, tribal citizens or anyone else that's actually looking to make these changes and to work to go green and save the climate and all of that. So I just wanted to jump on and say, this is really great. I have some questions as well, and I'll need to look a little bit closer at it, but thank you for the presentation. It's really great to see that it's going forward.
Thank you. Thanks, Melissa, and thank you, Martha, and and Dylan. Thank you for the presentation and for all the work that you've done on the clearinghouse. We unfortunately don't have time for the second.
Excuse me, can I show you a couple of pictures of what we're talking about? That's all, there's two pictures. One is, they're both the same picture, but they're different.
So we actually won't have time we need to leave the library at 8 o'clock, which means the contractor has to, who is helping us I'm happy to look at it right now if you want to come over and maybe show the council members who are in person. I'm not sure that folks online will be able to see it.
See, this is the picture where it looks good. And the other way. And that's what it is after. Oh my God.
Well,
that's not even bad. I was cutting the lawn one day and I thought my house was on fire.
do you want to show them the pictures?
That's clear.
Is there a way we could get those pictures emailed so we have it as part of the comment?
Actually, is there a way for you to email us those pictures?
Yeah, she's good at it. I'm not.
Great, so Sabrina will send us the pictures, and then we can make sure that folks have access. Folks who are online and listening into the meeting can look at the pictures as well. So, I do just want to make a couple comments before we close. Our next meeting is January 16th in North Adams, and it will also be a hybrid meeting. I also wanted to share that our office, the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs, will soon be posting an RFR, request for responses, to procure approximately 5 equity partners that will assist communities with the MVP planning. The MVP is the Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Planning Process. So this is a grant program. So our office will be procuring 5 equity partners. And so the responsibility of these partners will include assisting communities in centering the individuals who have a deep connection to environmental justice populations and other populations that are most impacted by climate change, conducting equity and climate justice training sessions, and advising on community engagement activities. The applications could come from an organization that has 1 or more staff with the required skill set, or from individuals. And the responses will be due in mid-December. I believe this RFR will come out in the next day or couple of days. So just wanted to make that announcement. And so now I'll ask for a motion to close.
Motion.
Caroline, can I get a second?
A second.
Thanks, Jen. And now if we could do a roll call.
All right, I will be conducting the roll call. Kalila Barnett is not here. Madeline Fraser Cook.
Here.
Does that count as a support? Do they? What's the official language? Okay, accepted. Great. Melissa Ferretti.
Yes.
Cheryl Holly.
Yes.
Caroline Hahn.
Yes.
Namrita Kapoor is not here. Lydia Lowe.
Yes.
Maria Belen. Marcos Luna.
Yes.
Peter Mathe.
Yes.
Sophia Owen.
Yes.
Jen Salonetti.
Yes.
Patricia Spence.
Yes.
Ari Zorn is not here, and Miles Gresham is not here. But we have enough.
And I can change my language to yes.
Thank you. So I think there's going to be a couple links in the chat for folks who have access to the EJ meetings. And there is also going to be a reminder to complete a survey in the chat. So meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everyone.